1100 to 1200 SMEs are have already got listed. They have already raised 50,000 crores, and the market capitalization has touched almost 4 lakh crores. So this is the value this SME platform has created and opened the gate, in fact, for many of the SMEs. Because in India, the major problem is that, all the SMEs are dependent on one source of financing, is debt financing.
Welcome to the Market Pillars Uncovered series. Today we'll be talking to someone whose work is shaping the future for Indian SMEs. Mr. Ajay Thakur, the CEO of TGI SME, is a man and a visionary leader who's working with SMEs on equity access as well as growth and strategy. Today, on this MPU Education series, we'll be talking to him on how exactly are the opportunities in investing in SMEs, in startups, and also to help you identify any possible red flags. Mr. Thakur, thank you so much for joining us today on Money TV. When we talk about the financial evolution in India, we'd be amiss to not take your name, because you've been at the genesis of it all, and especially when it comes to promoting the growth of MSMEs, which are obviously the backbone of the Indian economy. I want to rewind the clock a little bit and talk about what exactly is it that brought you into this world of not just finance and capital markets as a whole, but more specifically SMEs.
Let me tell you, I was associated with the stock exchange since 1996, handled various departments in the challenging role. In 2010, when SEBI came out with the guideline on SME platform, a stock exchange was looking for a person who has got a, exposure in the capital market, who understands the capital market, who can take the role of this new platform. And during that time, the management of BSE decided me to handle the SME platform, put me in charge. Though it was very challenging at that point of time, I was a little bit depressed because you have an OTCI which was launched for this purpose only, and the guidelines were more or less same. And even the feedbacks on this SME platform was very negative. So at that point of time, I was very hesitant whether to take the responsibility or not. So even in the stock exchange, people were not so optimistic about this platform. Then I, thought of taking the feedback of last person, and then I would have decided whether to take the responsibility or not. But that gentleman, told me that I don't know how it comes from his mouth, because he was an IT person. So he told me that, no, Ajay, I think that you are the most capable person to take the responsibility and you can make it a success. And from there, I don't know what motivated after that to me. And so I went to the MD of BSE and told him that I am ready to take this responsibility and put my whole heart on this. And from there, this journey started. But it took almost from there also almost 2 years to bring all the stakeholders. I was not getting the merchant banker, I was not getting the company, because everybody was very much pessimistic. No one want to build the cat. Why should I go and get listed? So neither you have got a company nor you have the merchant banker. So somehow I got one merchant banker, a young guy who had just started his merchant banking division, Sripal of Ariman. Then we got a company, BCB Finance. It was an NBFC company. And after a lot of efforts, finally we launched the SME platform on 13th March 2012 with the listing of BCB Finance. So that was the first milestone that, from the place of disbelief, at least we proved that yes, this SME platform can be launched. So from there the journey started. All the employees, the MD, the CEO of BSE, all were very cooperative. They were motivating me, they were encouraging me, they have given me free hand. And that was the reason that I traveled across the length and breadth of the country, met almost 42,000 promoters, spoken on 2,500 seminars, given a lot of interviews, and finally today you are seeing that the success has come. Both BSE and NSE have got their own SME platform. Altogether 1100 to 1200 SMEs have already got listed. They have already raised 50,000 crores, and the market capitalization has touched almost 4 lakh crores. So this is the value this SME platform has created and opened the gate, in fact, for many of the SMEs. Because in India, the major problem is that, all the SMEs are dependent on one source of financing, is debt financing. And that many of the times create a deep hole in the balance sheet and PL account of the company. They come into a stress. So with equity funding coming into the side of the small and medium enterprises, and which are, you have rightly said that they are backbone of our economy, and we need to make them strong. Okay, so everybody, whether you government, from our side, the stock exchanges, and we all have put the efforts to ensure that we can give them and the access to the equity and take them to the next level.
I think this kind of a success journey and story does require chronicling, if not by a movie, then by a book. And that's the reason why, very rightly so, you have chronicled your experiences in your new book, and that's Vision to Victory. 40,000 promoter conversations, I'm sure it's been sort of touched upon in the book. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
No, I have not touched upon. First, I have talked about little bit about myself, my journey, and what created that toughness or resilience inside me. And from there, how, it was, of course, a very difficult journey. Many things you can't write, because the conversation, when it goes on for hours and hours and days, and when the success rate is in 0.001%, many times there are chances that you feel depressed, you feel demotivated. But some or other things keep me going, and I kept on meeting promoters. And when one promoter becomes successful post-listing, when their turnover profits goes up, that acts as a big booster to me, and that keeps me moving. So of course, I have chronicled everything into the book to make the people understand that the initiatives taken by the government, the SEBI, and the work that has been put behind by the stock exchange employees and me at the center, then it becomes successful. And I have also illustrated some examples of those SMEs which have become successful. I have illustrated examples of the merchant banker. I have talked about the role those merchant bankers have played, because most of the time intermediaries don't get acknowledgement, though they put a lot of hard work.
Through this book, do you also want to perhaps bust some myths as to what actually goes on behind the scenes and what really goes behind helping an SME list successfully, perhaps even building an SME? Because many times it happens that investors have it in their mind about vilifying certain promoters or vilifying the merchant bankers. Like you mentioned, they're the first one to get the brickbats. So through this book, do you aim to bust some myths and give all investors and all stakeholders a reality check behind an SME and its listing journey?
Of course. You are totally right that I have tried to demystify it and remove all this negativity around this ecosystem. So that was the reason that at least people should understand that what goes behind making a SME listed. Because what happens, if you see the whole guidelines of SEBI, as far as the compliances are concerned, even on the SME platform, it is one and the same as that of main board. So there is no relaxation as far as compliances for listing is concerned. Post listing there are compliances, criteria there are compliances, but relaxations on the criteria there are relaxations, but in the compliances there was no relaxation. So a merchant banker on the main board, whatever he does, the same work is being done by the SME merchant bankers. So a lot of efforts, hard work. Now, when you talk about the main board company or the large company, Well, they have the bandwidth, they have the company secretary, they have the finance guys, they have HR, everything in place. Okay, all whatever you require, everything is in place. For the merchant banker, it's easy to do the compliance and file the prospectus of the large company. But in the case of small companies, they don't have. Okay, so merchant banker has to do the same work. Okay,
Probably more.
But even more.
Yeah.
Okay, because the way I have told the merchant banker was you don't expect the SME promoters to provide you everything.
Yes.
You need to send your 2% to their office, ensure that everything is in place. Or if it is not placed, then help them in making them well compliant. Okay, so these merchant bankers have done. Then also there was a cost sensitiveness because they can't pay that much. So they have kept the cost minimal and ensure. What I have told the merchant banker that, see, if out of these are the startups, it's like investing your money in these SMEs, these startups, your efforts, everything you put in these. If these companies will become big, then automatically you will also become big. You will also create wealth. And that was the reason why these merchant bankers remain motivated. Though they have initially, have to do a lot of hard work, they don't get the reward that they should have got. But I think finally, as the valuation kept on going up, these merchant bankers also got rewarded.
I want to gain some insights from your own experiences with promoters. You've spoken to close to 42,000 promoters, and obviously by that extension, their companies as well. When you speak to them, there are obviously certain red flags that you are able to today identify very easily. So as somebody who's worked with them and as an investor too, could you share some instances perhaps where you have felt that, okay, I think I would want to stay away from this company, and perhaps you'll advise other investors about the same as well?
Right. See, first thing, what we see in the promoters, whether he has got long-term vision or not. Okay. Whether he has got trading mindset, okay, or he thinks that he takes the business as his own business, and whereby he wants that there should be succession model also. So, and fourth very important thing is from taking everything or putting everything in the books, whether the balance sheet, PL account is clean or not, or there is diversion of funds. Whether they are putting all the compliances, all the checks and balances in the company or not. Unless until these things we see, we don't suggest those companies to get listed. Many of the times when I go to the promoters, he has got very short-term view about his company. He doesn't talk about succession things. He always says that as long as I am in the company, this company will run, then we'll leave it. So if that is the mindset of the promoter, then normally we avoid those type of promoters to get listed onto the stock exchange. We always try to take those promoters on the stock exchange. Even after meeting 42,000 promoters, I always suggest those promoters to get listed who wants to go for expansion of their company, who wants to take the company to the next level, who always have these things in the mind that investors, if they are investing in the company, they should not regret. If these things come out of their mouth, then that is the right promoter whom we chase to get listed. Many times, even in those promoters, we need to chase a lot because if out of 42,000, only 1,100, 1,200 companies get listed. It means 90-95% companies have avoided getting listed. Now we have got almost 7 lakh small and medium enterprises, small enterprises there. Almost 2.5 lakh medium enterprises are there who are all set to get listed. But we have in the stock exchange, because BSE has been in existence for 150 years, we have hardly 5,000 companies listed. So there is a huge gap, and a small and medium enterprises have got a big issue of credit gap. Yeah. Normally they have to always chase for funds. Yeah. And if they don't get access from the capital market, they will have this problem. They can never become big. So we need to take those promoters, bring these promoters who have got scalability of the business, who knows the business, who understand the compliances, who didn't go for diversion of funds, who didn't use the funds of the company for their well-being, then I think that is the right case for getting listed, and that is the right investment destination.
There have been instances when you have advised promoters, even the ones who have certain ambitions for their companies to grow it, to scale it, etc. There have been instances when you advise them that maybe wait, right now listing is not right for you.
Yeah, of course, because many of the promoters, I have felt that they just want to have money into the company, they want to bring the company, but what they will use the money in the company for, whether they will use for growth or for work, if they don't have the clarity, then we'll tell them to avoid. Okay, even the merchant bankers, if they don't find that the investors can make money in the company, they also don't take the assignment in their hand. So of course, many companies, let me tell you, many of the promoters say that we are very honest. But if there is no exclusivity in the business, what the honesty has to do? So I think the business is the most important thing for the investors. If the business is dissociated with the promoter, in the sense that business is different, promoter is different. So promoter's integrity is never questionable. But if promoter's integrity is not associated with the exclusivity of the business, then it is of no use. So of course, such promoters we avoid. Those promoters where we don't see much of the growth, maybe the growth is 5%, 7%, then normally also no one likes such companies to get listed, because when the base is low, then the growth should be more. But if the base is low and the growth is also low, then such companies are not the right candidates to get listed onto the stocks.
Very true. I think when we look at SME companies, we want that double-digit growth, because of
course.
And
low base. If you have got low base, of course, you require high growth.
Yeah.
So you can't expect the same growth in the large company,
correct,
okay, or the blue chip company. So if this company is having low base with low growth rate, then those companies should be avoided. Even the trading companies, normally, people avoid them to bring onto the stock exchange, unless until some IT innovations, etc., are there in those companies.
Now, thanks to these SME platforms introduced by the exchanges, ordinary retail investors like us have this wonderful opportunity to grow our own wealth. But could you share with our investors and our viewers some ground realities that they may not be knowing of when investing in SME exchanges, particularly first-time SME investors?
So at that point of time, I always suggest the investors, if they don't have the right bandwidth to understand the business of the company, understand the balance sheet and PL account of the company, or understand the growth of the company, or if they are not understanding the sector, then better they should take the advice of some expert and then only invest into the company. Because if you are a retail investor, you may not have deep pocket, and these companies require minimum investment ticket size of 2 lakh henceforth after the change in SEBI guidelines. So in that case, you have to be always careful before investing into this company, because it is a high risk, high reward game. So if you understand the business well and good, invest into the company. Don't go on hearsays. Don't go on somebody who is just have got some vested interest in the company. Take expert advice of a neutral person, whether it's right to invest in this company or not. And if you get the right advice, if you understand everything, you understand the business, you understand the sector, then only invest in the company. Second thing, you just check their last 3 years balance sheet PL account. It will give you a picture whether the company, even if they have, talked good about themselves, but where there is a sustainable growth in last 2 years or 3 years, where they are going at 20%, 30%, 40% or not, whether revenue is growing or not, whether the profit or revenue is volatile in nature. So if you go and see all these things, if it's a sunrise sector or not, if you go and see all these things, take expert advice. If you don't understand everything, then I think you can make money if you invest.
All right. What role do you think SMEs will play in India's economic landscape? We speak so much about how India is going to be, the third largest economy in the next couple of years. What role do you think MSMEs will play in all this, and how should investors position themselves?
Well, MSMEs will play major roles. See, this country has got, almost more than 7 crore macro, small and medium enterprises. Okay, so they are like, nerves and veins of the country, economic landscape. So I think that, it's very important for the government for other stakeholders, to ensure that micro, small and medium enterprises should see sustainable growth for employment generation. Okay. Now we all know their contribution to export is almost 40%. Their contribution to manufacturing is 45%. Their contribution to GDP is 30%. But still, from GDP contribution, it is much lesser than developed countries. Okay. It has to go beyond 50%. So this year the government has taken the measure under the budget whereby the investment they have in all these three categories, macro, small and medium, they have increased by 2.5 times. The turnover they have increased by 2 times. So up to 500 crore turnover company comes under the definition of macro, small and medium enterprises. So there are various schemes that government kept on coming at various intervals of time to ensure that there should be a growth in these MSMEs. So that is very important from the country's perspective. And with the SME platform, you being there, I think this can be taken to the next level. Now everybody, because you see, a stock exchange can't say that without any compliance you can come and get yourself listed. Because out of 1,500 companies, one company or two companies will go bad. Okay, people started coming on social media and other places and they start writing negative things about it. So thousands of good things have happened. Credits are not being given. But if one or two things goes wrong, then everybody start talking negative about the SME platform. So I think there is very much required that all the stakeholders, all the chartered accountants, financial advisor, company secretary, cost accountant, they should ensure that these small and medium enterprises are well compliant, their books of accounts are properly managed, and then merchant bankers should put the right prospectus with the stock exchange so that the stock exchange can very easily approve it. That is very much required. Otherwise, the stock exchange will also find it difficult to give them approval. So in that, what happened that many of the SMEs will not get listed and grow themselves. So this is very important. But because stock exchange hands are also tight. So my request to everybody will be there that we should bring the growth oriented small medium enterprises well compliant so that the exchanges give approval, and then all this ecosystem will be in place. We will see a big leap forward. We will see a big growth in the small medium enterprises. We can take the country to become a third largest economy in the world.
Well, your passion, of course, is capital markets, funding, SMEs. But when you're not thinking about that, what would you like to do? I'd like to get a brief glimpse into life for Mr. Thakur outside of the markets.
So, last 14 years, though, I have given totally to the small and medium enterprises. Even in the 12th in the night, I used to get the calls. So, my personal life, I have never been able to enjoy. Post that, I am trying to do that. Music is my hobby. I like listening songs. Then exercise, going to gym. There also I put some time. Then meeting friends that I like. Sometimes I go to native places. So this way I keep myself a little bit engaged.
Well, I'm sure your family will appreciate that. But for now, I'm sure the SME ecosystem is definitely appreciating your presence in developing something that's, like we mentioned, the backbone of the Indian economy. Mr. Thakur, thank you so much for delving into your treasure trove of experiences and sharing such insightful content with us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode at Money TV. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more investor-focused content.